Oh, man. On to our July regular board meeting. This time, we'd like you to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry, Dan, I stuck my purse right in your lap. Now the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item B1, adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes?
Yeah, I think we need to pull out under consent items, number 6, to have just a vote on it by itself.
Okay. You want to put it as 7A? That works for you?
Yeah.
All right, anything else? No, would anybody like to make a motion with the amended agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Kaiser,
Second.
second by Ms. Hall. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consider approval of the minutes from the special virtual meeting on June 17, 2025, and special virtual board meeting on July 10, 2025.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Thomas,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Public comments. Do we have any public comments? We have a few. Change their minds. Miss Jada Brody, property tax.
As you all know, my name is Jada Brady, your current Clark County PBA. I live at 7170 Bivey Road, and I am back again to talk about property taxes. For the 2025 tax year, I sent out assessment notices on Friday, April the 25th. As they hit mailboxes, I encourage property owners to contact my office and discuss their property assessments. State statute requires 2 weeks. I give the citizens of Clark County at least 3 full weeks, including 2 Saturdays, to discuss their assessments. In addition to this, on March 20th, I hosted a well-attended meeting with property owners to discuss assessments at the Clark County Library. Thank you very much, Mr. Kaiser, for attending. During assessment season, I was graciously offered an opportunity to speak to even more citizens at Broadway Baptist Church. During each one of these interactions, I spoke to Clark County citizens about how what I do affects the property tax bill and the overall upcoming tax rate. For me, this season was different than the last. The majority of the phone calls we received this year were from confused homeowners. Many wanted to go ahead and start making payments. Some were confused as to why they were receiving something from the PBA office, because it was the first time in a very long time that they had received a property tax assessment notice. This year, I talked to several people that were all above the age of 75 years. Some in good shape, some dealing with medical issues for themselves or a loved one. The one thing they all had in common is that they were living off a fixed income and the homestead exemption is no longer keeping up. Their assessment going from $70,000 to $100,000 doesn't add value to their property. It adds $300 to an already strained income source. I'm relaying this information to you today because my office is not only required, but I encourage the community to talk to me about their situation. Your board is not required to hear the stories from the community about their struggles. I'm reminding this board that not only do they work for the Clark County school system, but they work for the community that should be electing them into office. I'm asking that for this board to look at how much money they need to run a productive school system and set a tax rate to that number instead of the highest amount of tax revenue that they can take in and setting the budget to that amount. This is an elementary breakdown of how the school tax rate is calculated. The first rate calculated is the compensating rate. The school system receives every dollar that they received from the year before. Next, they look at exonerations and refunds. A percentage is added for the overall tax rate to recuperate money that was not received from the year before. Additionally, there is a weighted average that is calculated by adding the real estate to the personal tangible taxes. The compensating rate is compared to the weighted average, and the higher of the two amounts are selected. After that, after the compensating rate has been selected, you'll receive a rate that it will be 4% higher for additional funding. Clark County Schools will also receive additional funding for all new property. The additional funding that Clark County Schools have received between 2020 and 2024 is approximately $9.7 million. I understand that you've increased teachers' salaries. I also understand that the price of goods in general have increased. I have also been told for this upcoming year that the CCEP formula from the state has increased, which will increase funding from the state. I have also been informed that the state is now covering the transportation budget this year. This additional funding may leave an opportunity for the tax rate to be set lower. This community is drowning from overtaxation. The largest portion of the property tax bill goes to this school system. I make up 50% of the tax bill. I will always leave my door open for any homeowner to discuss their property with me. I will also continue to come to this board, as well as all the other boards, to have them select a tax rate and to be held accountable for that rate, for their 50% of the tax bill. I've repeatedly asked for a meeting with this board and have been denied. We are two entities that make up one bill. We should have an open discussion about how one affects the other, and I'm asking again now. I'll open my schedule to set up individual and/or group meeting with you all to discuss property taxes. These are elected positions to do what is best for this community. I've calculated your compensating tax rate, which would be around 63%. If you include a 4% increase, it would be around 65.5%. I'm asking that this board find a rate between those two numbers that will satisfy the budget and truly help deserving citizens of Clark County. Thank you.
Student Support Services, consider approval of change orders BG 21-247 for Clark County Preschool Project. Mr. Watkins.
All right. You all will see in the documents that we've got a few change orders. Codell is not ready to close out the project for this month, as we still are having really one specific issue with the kitchen and the outdoor cooler that hasn't been resolved. Until we get it resolved, I'm not going to bring the project to you all to close it out yet. So the change orders that you see, most of them are credits, actually 6 out of the 7. We've got a credit for over 1,600, 1188, $5.98, 6,362, $155, $2,300, and then there's one for to Fayette for radio repeater system. That's $43,000. And I had asked Brian and Jeff, and Brian, if you want to add anything, please do so. But Jeff was their electrical engineers to kind of give me a good explanation of why we need that repeater system. We had the police department and the fire department come and test their radios as required by code in the buildings. The police department radios, their signal was sufficient. The fire department's wasn't. We brought in new tech to do some more testing to determine the signal, and everywhere was good except one portion of the building, so we're going to have to add a radio repeater system. And is there anything you want to add to that?
The only thing that I would add is that we, initially in the bid documents, this is a fire code related item. They need to have a specific signal strength as a minimum threshold, and it needs to cover 95% of the building with all the critical areas covered. So when they did the initial testing, let me back up. When we bid the documents, we actually had a full repeater system and a testing procedure put in place at the time of bid. That number came in very high. It was like a six-figure number at the time, is what Jeff was recalling. At the time, we VE'd that down to putting a repeater system in the storm shelter, which we felt, because of the construction type of the shelter, we would have the most issues with radio frequency and access in that area. So we also had a provision for them to do a field test at the time of construction completion, which is what led to this kind of discovery here. So the initial indications when they came through and did the testing was that they felt like it was fine with the exception of a single corridor. However, they were not testing for the minimum signal strength. So the way that would probably make the most sense is kind of the difference between having like a bar of cell service versus 4 bars. 4 bars is now the minimum that you need. So they had signal coverage in the vast majority of the building except for one area. We thought that we could simply move the repeater from the storm shelter into that central corridor to cover it. But when New Tech was requested to come do the full inspection, other areas of the building were underperforming. So they still had coverage, but it was not meeting the minimum threshold. So at that point, because it is a fire code related issue, we asked them to go ahead and put a PR together for repeaters to cover the rest of the building and make sure that we maintain the signal strength. So that number came in a lot lower than it did at the time of bid. So that was a good thing that we suggest, I guess, that it get beaten down. But to our surprise, it wasn't just the storm shelter that was an issue. It was other areas of the building. Again, the police department and their testing did not have similar issues. I think they may have had issues in other parts of the building, but ideally the repeater system covers everything for both. But again, it's a fire code specific, so it's geared towards the department radios there.
So I just would ask for a motion to approve these 6 change order credits that send money back to us, and then for the purchase of the radio repeater system for obviously safety purposes and to meet local code.
Do you have any questions?
I was gonna make a motion to approve the change orders,
Okay,
but
go for it.
that's, I'd make a motion to approve the change orders between 21247 for Clark County preschool project, unless someone else had a question.
I'll second.
Well, I think we're on board. Want to
Okay.
make sure our firefighters are able to do what they need to do.
Motion by Ms. Hall, second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Consider approval of contracted speech services to cover possible vacancies during the 2025-2026 school year.
Hey, good evening. Again, this is just a proactive move. We are very blessed, knock on wood, to be completely full with our speech language pathologist. So this is just proactive in case we have anyone that needs to go on leave, or we see an increase in numbers, or anything like that.
Any questions? Comments? Motions?
I'll make the motion to approve the contracted speech services to cover possible vacancies during the 25-26 school year.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Kaiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Consider approval of MOU with National Youth Advocate Program.
No, I don't have to leave.
Okay.
We established that last year. I don't have to leave unless you want me to leave.
No, I thought that's what you told me.
No, I need to say that I can't, I'm going to disqualify. So. Go
Okay.
ahead, Ms.
Yes,
Nelson.
you're good, you're good. Hey, good evening. So I have, hopefully you guys are not fearful of all of my items that I have here. They're kind of like lumped up. all of those.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm
me too.
not.
So I'm gonna kind of give a summary, we'll go through each one, I think we decided, but just give a summary. The MOUs that are presented here with my name, are for school-based services that community mental health agencies can come in and provide to our students. The majority of these are renewals of existing MOUs that we have. We do have 3 additional partnerships that we're developing this year, and those partnerships are specific to specialty type services related to grief and trauma. So do we need to go through each one individually, I suppose?
We just have to vote on them, and I can't vote for one of them because I work for them. So
Yes.
that was the reason, but also it's exciting to have this, I'm excited to have that our schools and our counselors and Chris will have more than just one place to pull
Yes,
from.
yes, I'm very, very excited as well about the potential positive impacts.
Thank you for your hard work on it, because I know it wasn't easy getting all that together, so.
Okay, so we're on 3,
Yes.
on National
Yep.
Youth Advocate Program.
And so I will need to disqualify myself due to the National Youth Advocate Program being my primary employer.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Kaiser,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion, opposed, motion carries 4-0. Number 4, consider approval of MOU with Mountain Comprehensive Care Center. That center was at the bottom, about
Yeah.
missed it. Any questions?
We just need to make a motion, is that, okay, I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Thomas,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Kaiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consider approval of MOU with New Vista. If you want to talk about any of these, you
If
stop
you,
me.
yeah, if y'all have questions, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Not? Did you just make a motion?
I'll make the motion,
That's what I thought I heard.
to approve the MOU with New Vista.
All right, motion by Mr. Dorsey,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion- Motion carries 5-0.
Just a little bit behind.
Moved on.
Consider approval of MOU with Resolutions Therapy Practice. Did you just make that motion?
Sure, I make a motion to approve the MOU for resolutions therapy practice.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
I'll
Second.
second.
second by Ms. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consider approval of MOU with Sun Behavioral Health.
Make a motion to approve the MOU with Sun Behavioral Health.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consider approval of MOU with Kentucky Trauma Therapists.
I make a motion to approve MOU with Kentucky Trauma Therapists.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Amazing opportunity.
Consider approval of MOU with Amazing Opportunity of Lexington.
Now,
I
can I ask?
have one question.
Yeah, I do too.
Of course, yeah.
So it talks about Phoenix Academy, so are they gonna be just at Phoenix Academy, or is there, so there, tell us a little bit about.
So primarily, we will have referrals for that particular agency come from Phoenix Academy. They specialize specifically in adolescent youth with increased risk factors. So we'll be looking, at students who have potential dropout risk, or maybe they have some legal issues that are impacting their education. So that particular agency, we're going to work on funneling referrals of that nature to them.
That's fantastic.
That's good, I like that. I'll make a motion for that.
Okay, so you got your question answered too, Ms.
Yes,
Thomas?
she did that.
All right, motion by Ms. Thomas,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Hall. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consider approval of MOU with Kentucky Center for Grieving Children and Families.
I make a motion to approve MOU with Kentucky Center for Grieving Children and Families.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
Second.
second by Mr. Kaiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. This is an acknowledgement of partnership with the UK ARMHI.
Yes, so the University of Kentucky received a grant through ARMHI that is designed to develop our mental health workforce. So they'll be providing us with graduate level interns to provide school-based services to students.
That's great.
Super excited.
All right.
So that's just an
That,
acknowledgement?
yeah, that
That's
was just
just
an acknowledgement.
Yeah. And the letter there, it's just a support letter of acknowledgement, a support letter that gives some information about the services that we provide.
Do you all have any questions or anything? Consider approval of procedure 09.2241 AP 2.21.
Yeah, so we're taking a little shift on this one, so shifting from mental health to more physical health. KDE has come out with some new guidance and suggestions that's based on best practices documents for nurses, including school-based nurses. So now they are requiring a written provider's signature in order to administer prescription medications, as well as over-the-counter medications, which we're taking care of through our district health coordinator. But for our prescription medications, we will now require a form that has a space for parental signature as well as provider signature, along with all the details of the medication, dosage, time of day. So really, this form looks very similar to our previous medication consent form. We have simply added a space for a provider signature for prescription medications.
We have had our board attorney look over it and work with Terry Cruz, who's going to be our transitioning to our district health coordinator. So really by law, this is something we have to do.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think so too. And we'll make sure to ensure that families and parents have the resources needed to obtain that provider signature, so.
Yeah, will we get this out to them before school starts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And we're planning on putting it on our online registration.
Yeah, so we do have a consent on our online registration for our over-the-counter medications, and then we'll be drafting a letter, an informational letter, that will go out to parents to inform them of these changes around over-the-counter medications as well as prescription medications, so they are well aware that we'll have to require that written signature from a provider now.
I forget about all this online stuff.
I know.
I mean, it's wonderful, but
Yeah, it's good when it works.
That's
Some
right.
people still like paper, that's okay too, we'll accept both, so.
so do you need a motion for that?
I do.
Oh, okay, I'll make the motion for classes on 09.2241, AP.21.
All right, motion by Ms. Thomas,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I didn't vote, but yes. So, sorry. I had an emergency. So sorry
Thank you,
about
guys, I
that.
No,
appreciate
you're
your help.
fine.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson.
You need us to take a quick recess?
No, I'm
Okay.
just responding. So.
Okay. Consider approval of contracted speech language services for private schools for 2025-2026 school year. Ms. McCormick.
And this is again very similar in case we have an increase of preschool numbers, or I'm sorry, private school that has to come out of a different pot of money. And so we've contracted that to ensure that we're keeping up with guidelines that are set forth for Alicia and I to track that money.
Any questions for Ms. McCormick? Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract as we done for service.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey,
Second.
second by Mr. Kaiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Acknowledge and consider approval of school year 2025-2026 George Rogers Clark High School student handbook.
Good evening. We pulled the GRC handbook from last month's board meeting, just in the transition of Mr. Arms, and then they needed to have a couple, a council meeting, wanted to update some policies, so they got all of that taken care of. upload it and it's ready to be approved.
Any questions for Mr. King? Anybody else to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Thomas,
Second.
second by Ms. Hall. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Acknowledgement of the monthly CCPS financial update. Ms. Ellis. Good evening.
Okay, so these are preliminary ending numbers for our year. Nothing is final till the audit is final in November. So when we're looking at our numbers compared to budget, we are at 78%. So the difference really is what we call these on behalf numbers, which is what we book from the state. So that is a number that is for our health benefits, the things that the state pays on behalf. So it's a number that we have to budget. They make us budget it. They make us put it in our budget and account for it, but we never have money come to us, and we never physically spend money out, but it's accounted for in our records. So we have on our record 13.2 million so that's the difference from 78 to 99%. So that's kind of the big difference there between 50 and 64 million. So really that revenue mark. On the expenditure side, we're at 77 or 91 if you account for those on behalfs. So we did not spend all of our monies. And that is backing out one of the biggest expenditures that we've had this year, which is buses. And that rolled in from our beginning balance. So when we're looking at, did we flush out for the year? Were we deficient? Did we have an excess? We back off the beginning balance. We take out those one-time expenditures because we're looking at what we brought in for the year and what we spent out for the year. We're not thinking rollover or excess of one-time things. We're thinking ins and outs for just this year. And buses rolled into the year. That's something we had encumbered last year and we rolled in with beginning balance. So if we back that out, we're at 91% spend of our expenditures. So what we had budgeted for the year, we did not spend everything. So that's good news for us. We're gonna have some rollover. Any questions? That side of stuff? Okay. So when we look at our local tax collections, we are over collections on our property taxes, so that is fantastic news. Franchise, which is our business dollars, so that is property taxes, real estate, personal, we came in a little shy. So that's based on tax returns, those fees that have to do with businesses. And that is honestly what businesses are paying on their income taxes and their personal properties. And that is when they choose to pay them to the state and when they choose to pay them to the sheriff. And we cannot control the collections of that. The sheriff cannot control the collections of that. Last year we were way over. This year we have come in under. And honestly, when you look at his collection sheet, he is collecting on multiple years, which is multiple rates. So it's not even what we budgeted on, which I honestly budget about 80% of the property values that are listed when we get our tax sheet. I'm budgeting about 80% of what even that is reported from the state of the value of the property that we can collect on. Because I know it's really dependent on the business owner paying their taxes is what it amounts to. And we all know with everything going on, it's a struggle right now for everybody. So thankfully we were over in motor, we were over in property. So in the overall sense, we hit just barely shy about 99,000 of our total property. So with other buckets of money of revenue, we actually did really well and we were just 1% shy of our total revenue. So we've done really well for the year. We had a good beginning balance. So we're still looking good for the year and everything. And again, we didn't spend every penny that we had budgeted on the expenditure side. So that is again, while we do conservative budgeting, that's the whole point of why we do conservative budgeting, is because we can't predict everything. Okay. So again, preliminary numbers. We're gonna see how we come out at the audit, and we will have final numbers of how we ended the year when we report back in November. Okay? Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Ellis? Authorize payment of salaries and accounts payable.
I make the motion to authorize payment of salaries and accounts payable.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consider approval of policy update 03.1332, hours of duty, first reading.
Yes, so this is the first reading of another policy that's super antiquated. The last revision was done, are you ready? 31 years ago was the last time we revised this policy. So it talks about bulletin boards and sign-ins and things, and we definitely do things differently today. So it's just striking out a lot of that old verbiage that no longer pertain to us.
Any questions? If not, then I'd like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Kaiser,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Hall. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all.
Consider approval of Dustin Howard's 2024-2025 superintendent evaluation. I will read his evaluation summary. The Clark County Board of Education has completed the evaluation of Superintendent Dustin Howard for the 2024-2025 school year, deeming it overwhelmingly positive for education in our school district. The evaluation focused on 7 standards of performance and goals for the district as set forth in board policy. Superintendent Howard received a perfect rating of exemplary 4 out of 4 on all of the 7 standards in the areas of strategic leadership, instructional leadership, cultural leadership, human resources leadership, managerial leadership, collaborative leadership, and influential leadership. The board commends Mr. Howard on his recent award of the prestigious Eastern Kentucky University Experience Excellence Superintendent of the Year Award. Mr. Howard has great relationships with the community members and leaders. He also keeps in touch with the state level leaders. He advocates for our school district. Mr. Howard has taken the board's directives and created a high level of performance within the staff, which has led to a highly professional environment with our community's needs and expectations at the center. The board will work with Superintendent Howard over the coming weeks to develop goals for our district for the 2025-2026 school year, and the board looks forward to working with Superintendent Howard for continuing success and growth for the Clark County Public Schools District. The upcoming 2025-2026 school year, the board encourages Superintendent Howard to focus on continued growth in the area of instructional leadership. The board encourages Superintendent Howard to continue implementation of the Portrait of Learner initiative. And that is it. It's scored perfect.
Thank you.
So would anybody like to make a motion? That's gotta have a motion with it.
Make a motion to approve Dustin Howard's 2024-2025 superintendent evaluation.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
There you go. Consider approval of the updated CCPS Board of Education goals for 2025-2026.
So, like was talked about in the approval of my evaluation, we took our conversations, we really took where we were at last year, what we've been working on with initiatives, and really updated, just built upon the goals that were set for the year before. Some of this is lagging, especially on the academic goals, because we still are waiting to find out from the state how we scored on certain things, but our goals aren't built year to year, because Rome was not built in year to year. Our goals are built in 5-year segments, so we're really working together to track, are we making progress in educating our kids at a world-class level. So I also, we've been building all of our goals around the superintendent standards so that they're also tied, what I'm working on is what we're working on as a board. So again, all we've done is update them. We're really excited about the coming year and get to celebrate our kids representing our district and staff extremely well.
Any questions, comments? Motions?
Just trying to find, isn't there a place in here about community partnerships? I'm trying to find it. Well, yeah, here we go. So it's like part of the focus areas, and one of the biggest, community partnership we have is with the Clark County Equity Coalition. I noticed Miss Donna Carter is in the audience, and that is the reason why I bring it up, is because they, this coalition does so much for our Hispanic and African American students, and I just wanted to say that is a beautiful partnership, and I'm honored to serve as the board representative on the board on the Clark Equity Coalition. So thank you all, and just a shout out, we'll be having a gala on August 31st, and it's going to be fun. Old Hollywood, please come buy tickets, come and celebrate. So there is my community partnership shout out. Well, I'll make a motion to approve our updated CCPS Board of Education goals for 2025-2026.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
Oh, second.
second by Mr. Kaiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consider approval of Dustin Howard's professional growth goals and plans for the 2025-2026 school year.
So I've worked with my administrative team to really develop not only my professional growth goal, but they also have taken on our goals as a board, specifically with instruction. So the biggest goal that we have is continue to move forward with improving instructional practices and outcomes for our students. Included in that are continued professional development for our staff. So that'll actually start this next week. We started some professional development with our leadership team last week in a retreat because our goal, my responsibility is not only to help students, to help teachers, but I have to grow our leadership. I have to grow our principals. I have to grow folks at that level. And so we've really ramped up what we're doing with those, and that's part of the goals and kind of the accountability for us, because they're in the buildings every day and they're there to support teachers who then support our students. The other portion that I've included came straight from really our visionary work with our Portrait of a Learner. It's now our mission. It's part of what we do. Not only is our vision connecting our district and community as one to grow greatness in all of our students, we're doing that through the competencies of Portrait of a Learner, making sure when our kids graduate, they're empowered leaders, they're resilient learners, they're effective communicators, they're reflective innovators, they're engaged citizens, and most importantly, they're committed collaborators, because if you can't work together in the world, you don't succeed in the world. So that's the second part of my professional growth plan, is just continuing that work, pushing that forward, and focusing on outcomes that are great for our kids and our community.
Any questions for Mr. Howard? No, anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this Dustin professional growth goals plan.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey, second by Ms. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consider approval of donation to the Winchester Police Department for $6,000 to help fund a new therapy dog. This one's so exciting. I'm glad you're back, yes. He's putting it all on you.
That's leadership.
My name's Captain Charles with the Winchester Police Department. Born and raised here, went through all the way through high school. GRC was now RDC. As you all know, Abe passed away in March after a brief battle with aggressive cancer that kind of came out of nowhere. We attempted to go through I went to a specials in Louisville is where I ended up at, and we were ready to pull the trigger to get him, have the surgery to have it removed, and it was not possible. It invaded his lungs, and it would put him through more than what he was able to handle. Obviously, I spoke with Superintendent Howard, and that left a big hole in our department and also in the community because I'm not able to get into the schools as much as I'd like to. Just give me a reason to get in there. I reached out we got really lucky with Abe. He was he'd already been doing it for 4 years. We got him for a very good deal. It was very cheap. The owner had him, we wanted him to work, so they provided him for a very cheap price for us. We're going a different route this time because we don't have that option. So we looked into a kennel that's in Indiana. I've been there myself. So Ultimate Canine. They train everything from working dogs, therapy dogs, facility therapy dogs, drug sniffing dogs, everything, the whole gamut. And they are extremely top notch, to say the least. I applied for a grant, and I was able to get a grant for $10,700. The total cost of the dog is right at $22,000. And this dog comes with insurance, so if there's ever a incident with the dog, there's someone that has a problem, the dog is taking action that may cause harm, there's insurance on the dog. They certify up to 4 people. I've talked to Superintendent Howard and Chief Thompson about that. Obviously, I'll be the primary handler. My wife, who is an SLP, strode this year, is interested in doing that as well. And as part of this, we will have her certified as one of the handlers, so that if there's a day where she needs to take him or her with her to work, that'd be something that would be available as well. And as well, we would have 2 of our dispatchers also trained, so if I'm not at work, the dog could go out to schools or whatever. As you know, at the time we had Abe, we used him a lot. We had a lot of loss in the district, that at least 1 year in particular. I was in the school multiple days for a full day at GRC and other schools. So they're a great tool. He's obviously a great partner. He's doing this. We can't replace him, but he leaves a huge hole in our partnership that I would like to fill. If the board can give us this donation, the city has agreed to pay the remaining balance, which will allow us to start the process. It's about an 8-month process. If the dog doesn't come in sooner, because they start from pup. They select the puppy from the litter and has to pass a rigorous amount of tests that happen every 2 to 6 weeks on the increments. And if they fail at any point in time, they wash it and go back to another dog. So it's a very strenuous program, but the dog that comes out the obedience is top notch. So that's kind of my spiel, and I'm glad to answer any questions if you'll have any.
Any idea what kind of dog you'll be getting?
Yes, great question. The only hyperallergenic dog that they offer, and so I told them it had to be hyperallergenic for myself, so my wife doesn't kill me, and so that obviously with kids that have allergies, is an Australian Labradoodle. He'll be he or she, keeps saying he, because Abe was he or she will be much smaller than Abe. Abe was about a 100-pound golden doodle. He was a mini horse. This dog will be probably closer to the 30 to 40-pound range, but the obedience I've seen from these dogs up there is, I couldn't believe it. I can't explain it. They have a YouTube if you want to go check them out. They're called Ultimate Canine. They have all kinds of videos of their service dogs when they're doing their training and things, and it's unbelievable.
And you said it takes how long for you to get in?
So at a minimum, best case scenario is 8 months.
8 months.
So they start out, they pick a puppy, they pick a litter, and they do what's called a temperament test. And then if they pass that, then they live with the trainers for 2 weeks at a time until they're 12 weeks. They take another temperament test, and they pass that, then they begin their actual training. And they live with a different trainer for so often, so they get used to they don't bond with one person kind of thing. And that can last up to 8 months to where they're fully certified.
And this dog would reside with your family, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, gotcha.
I think it's great that your wife's getting involved.
Yes,
That's
I love
awesome.
Yeah, I was excited about that, and she's excited about that as well.
That's great.
And you say she does what extra?
She's a speech therapist.
Oh, speech
SLP.
therapist. Okay, gotcha. I heard SOP and I was like, I don't know what that is. I bet that
I
makes
didn't either,
sense.
so I've been very educated.
Well, I'm completely in favor of it.
Oh,
Everybody else is. So if somebody would like to make a motion or
I'll make a motion.
motion by Mr. Kaiser,
I'll second.
second by everybody here. together.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all.
Congratulations.
And I'll keep Superintendent Howard updated on the process as we go along, because it's a long process, but you'll be seeing him or her once he gets here for sure.
Yeah, you have to bring it to a meeting.
For sure.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
that's the only rule.
That's
It comes
not
to
a problem, that's not a problem at all.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all's partnership, and not just this, but just in helping us grow greatness in our kids.
All right, number 5, consider approval of additional board-approved two-way communication platforms for ATC and BCTC staff members.
So I was hoping we would have both organizations represented, but with the Senate Bill 181, if you recall, we have already approved from the board side certain two-way communication platforms. Because we offer so many opportunities for our students, we also have other organizations, one of which is Bluegrass Community Technical College, BCTC, because our kids have more dual credit opportunities than, well, it's just phenomenal. But they have several other two-way communication systems that we'll need to approve, or they won't be able to use them. We're still waiting on the state clouds, ATC communications, so I'll have to bring that back when I get them. So we're actually just approving the BCTC ones tonight. And they're listed on there. I think it's Blackboard, still their email domain, which is a little bit different throughout, Outlook, and I think Starfish is the other one.
So we need to amend this motion to take ATC off?
Correct, you're only going to be approving the BCTC.
Me too.
Okay.
Thank you.
You all have any other questions for Mr. Howard?
So do we make a motion to approve the additional board-approved
Yes.
two-way communication platforms for ATC and BCTC staff?
Not
It'll
ATC.
just be BCTC.
We got a
Because
strike.
obviously Dora did not listen, sorry about that.
That's okay.
That's because Ashley was bothering her, I'm sorry.
All right, I make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
Second.
second by Mr. Kaiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I need to,
Yeah, we're gonna take just a 5-minute break really quick and we'll be right back. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
He looks so confused.
No, I was.
open session at 6:57. And we are on number 6, consider approval of revised Booster Sport Club Agreement, 09.33 AP2.
I would like to make a
I'm
change.
sorry, Carl. I meant to say that.
That's all right. So I'd like to make a change to the booster agreements, that the only thing I want to change is, instead of just having the signature on a place for them to print their name, a lot of these parents and stuff that we get signings, you can't read it. You don't know who you're even talking to. So I'd like to have a place where we can print and then sign.
All right, any questions for Mr. Kaiser? Not, would anybody like to make a motion? I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, update about the KSBA summer conference.
Okay, I'll make this really quick. So I attended this the first weekend in July, and it was over in Lexington, so it was just 20-minute drive over there. And the opening session, they talked about the upcoming 2026 state legislate, it's a budget year for in 2026, and so there's also there's some federal education policy changes that will need to be addressed. Then there will be some type of legislative response to the recent KDE audit, and a push for pre-K for all, which is kind of a thing that if you listen to anything with state politics, that is a big thing. We are obviously committed to that, but with our recent preschool and just love that push. Definitely is a benefit to have that. I took several classes. It was like a day and a half. So I took some classes, and some of these all count towards our mandated hours that we have to take each year as board members. So the one I took was about communication with staff, media, and community partners, which is always helpful to have tools for improved communication. My experience over my almost 30-year career in social work is that you can always improve your communication. The next one I listened to was on school safety, which was a really good program to listen to and to think about in our schools. I know when I'm in the schools, all the doors are locked to the classrooms, which is a mandate, is my understanding. Like, I didn't realize that until this, because I was always wondering why all the rooms were locked. Just not a piece of legislation I looked at, but to hear about this gentleman does safety audits, and so he'll come to schools for that, and just some of his experiences. And I know from my experience going into our schools, our staff do a fairly good job with that. And I shared with Mr. Howard that I volunteer at Baker through Partners in Education, and I'm really bad about thinking that I'm helping by letting someone in, helping Ms. Johnson. Well, I'm actually not, because I might not know that person. So from now on, I will not open the door. I'll wait for Ms. Johnson to make that decision. So I'm going to tell her that. I'm sure she'll be thrilled that I'm worried about her safety. I love Ms. Johnson. She's fantastic. So, but that really, it was like an eye-opening thing, because you're guilty of it. Just trying to be helpful, but those things are in place for the safety of everyone. I also took another class that brought in, similar to what Mrs. Bush is doing with the Pritchard Committee. They had Washington County schools and Fayette County schools talking about their engagement with their community. So we had a very small school system and a large school system talking about what they do. And I'll say that Clark County, we are ahead of the game because we were doing all the things that they talked about. So I think Mrs. Bush is doing a fabulous job with the program that she's doing with Baker and Concrete, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct? Those are two schools?
Yes, ma'am, and we are moving that to other schools as well.
And we are moving that to other schools as well. Fantastic. So I also took a class on finance, and we are mandated to take finance that go through all sorts of different things. And I know that if I have a question about finance, I can always come to Mrs. Ellis, and she will help us through that and help us understand. But this is something that I try to take those classes every year. And so those are up to, I think I've taken 3 hours this year. I think we have, so it depends on where you're at and how long you've been on the board, how much you have to take, but we do take finance seriously on this board and how we spend our money, and we look to Mrs. Ellis and Mr. Howard to guide us. And as we make those financial decisions, I feel like that we do a good job with that. And then the last one I took was about, it was through Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky, which is an organization, nonprofit, that does a lot to prevent child abuse and neglect, and it was about our role as board members to prevent that child abuse. And they have so many resources, and I shared all that information with Mr. Howard and with Mr. Snell. There's new laws that we have to follow, and there's free resources there for our schools. And so free is good, and when they're quality free, that's even better. And Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky is definitely that. And I actually got to meet, not really meet, I already knew them, but I teach part-time at UK in the College of Social Work, and I have a peer who also teaches part-time, and now she is on the Woodford County Board of Education, so we have things in common, and so there is that camaraderie. Saw Mr. R.J. Palmer, and we had a good conversation. Mr. Christie was, and there's a lot of that, like, how are things going for you, and learn about different things. So that was my experience for the summer intensive, and luckily it was in Lexington, so it was pretty cost effective. So that is it.
Thank you, Ms. Hall.
Before we move on, we need to back up and get 7A.
Yeah, I've got it wrote down here. I got you, Carl. I got you.
Oh, I don't have a 7A.
I have 7A,
That's what
but I
we
have it under
changed in
7.
the beginning.
Okay, all right, sorry.
No, you're fine.
No,
I
you're
had it
fine.
under it, so we're on 7A, consider approval of booster agreements.
So is this the new, or these are?
No, that we can approve, I make a motion that we approve the agreements, the football agreement and the cross-country agreement, as long as we send them back and get the printed names on.
Oh, that's right. I'll
All
second.
right, motion by Mr. Kaiser, second by Ms. Hall. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, superintendent's report.
Sure, so I'm going to give a kind of a recap of all the things. I was on the radio, Ed Burtner, world famous host of Mornings on Main, made the point to point out, even though school closes for our students, it does not close over the summer. And so we've got a lot of staff working extremely hard, from our maintenance crew doing our summer work projects, individual programs. I'm going to take the opportunity to highlight some of those for you guys. One of the biggest ones was our literacy liftoff program at Shear over the summer. We're really trying to identify and close gaps. So we provide the summer literacy to focus on phonics and reading opportunities. We had almost 149 students that came in the summer, right, to have a great time with our staff so we could pour into them, give them confidence, give them some skill sets to really improve, continue to improve their reading. So thank you to Ms. Fitton and her staff on that. All of our teachers worked, again, 6 weeks in the summer to help kids. Free transportation, free meals, all to help our students and grow greatness. Other things I want to highlight. The book bus. 682 free books have been given out to our students, and that's in the month of June. So big shout out to Miss Allison, who had kids coming in and out of the bus parking lot. She loves running the book bus. I think if Ms. Bush tried to take it away from her, we'd have some issues. So is that accurate, Mr. Snell? Yeah, it'd be a problem. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to lean into all the great things she's doing for our kids and under Ms. Bush's leadership and help with transportation. Food summer distribution. So this is just, again, Dr. Bush not here, but this is what I got from her. So this is in June. We provided, you have to write this down, you won't believe it. You ready? Pausing for dramatic effect. 66,953 breakfast and lunch meals to children who are 18 and under in our community. That's almost 67,000 meals. We delivered once a week was our mode over contract. Again, big shout out to all of we have maintenance guys. We had our student workers that would work their shift. And these are GRC kids, and they came back specifically to hand out food. I mean, that absolutely represents the portrait of a learner, what I'm talking about. That we're growing not only a skill set of reading, math, and writing, but kids that model what we want them to model when they graduate. So I just, again, big shout out to those things. 10,000 of those meals. There was also 10,000 meals in different camps. So summer care, band camp, literacy liftoff, art camp, STEM camps, theater camps, Parks and Rec, Grace Bible Academy. We fed another 10,000 meals to other folks on top of that number. So again, big shout out to food services. Senate Bill 181, I want to give you guys some updates on that. We have started our training today. In fact, I ran to this board meeting coming out of the administrators training. So our administrators were trained today. Our coaches will be trained tomorrow. Our buildings starting August 4th with RDC and CIC. The rest of the buildings will be that next week. And for parents, information is coming out. So you will get information of how to sign into the app, how to log in. Hopefully we'll get that out by the 8th, if not the first part of that next week. So fear not. Again, I know has been some anxiety out there, but we've got a plan. We're getting through our training piece, and then we'll get parents information so they'll be ready to rock and roll before school starts. Let's see, the other thing I wanted to highlight was a partnership, and this is wonderful. With our Cardinal Innovation Center, and specifically Ms. Christina Covington-Jones, make sure that we pass it along. I saw Lindsay here somewhere. They are doing a wonderful collaboration with PI, where we have opportunities for students to volunteer, job shadow, internships, part-time employment throughout our community. They'll be available Monday through Friday, 9 to 12, and transportation provided. So we're excited. Community liaison between, again, Ms. Covington-Jones and Greg Yates through our PI partnership. So it's another example of us connecting our district and our community as one to grow greatness. So no longer, again, I'll hit it again, is our vision and mission as something on the wall. We are actively making it what we do for our students, and I'm super proud of that. So big shout out to them, and that's kind of my updates. Oh, by the way, school starts on the 13th, so I guess I should probably throw that in there, and we're very excited. I will say, since this is the last board meeting before that, be patient with us on regards to traffic. It's not if it will be bad, it is when it will be bad on August the 13th. Okay, and I say that very directly because we have a tremendous amount of extra traffic with mamas, daddies, grandparents, loved ones taking their kids to school the first day. That doesn't happen all year long. So once we get through those first couple weeks, everything will be back to normal, but you can also help us if you don't need to go that way, please don't. We'll try to get some signage out just to make sure that we partner with the city and make sure people know there will be heavy traffic during that time. So I just want to, I can predict the future sometimes, and I promise you on that day, we will have heavy traffic. But again, big time transportation. I know our bus drivers are getting ready to, they're very excited. They're also going through training this summer as well. So now I'm done, promise.
All right. Consent agenda items, would anybody like to make a motion for 1 through 20?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
Second.
second by Mr. Kaiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Adjourn to closed session. Consider adjournment to executive session per KRS 61.810 subsection 1, subsection F. Discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee, member, or student. And KRS 61.810 subsection 1, subsection B, deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency. You were just gonna say you make a motion to close during the closed session, right?
Yes.
But only when, okay, well, we'll do that.
I make a motion to go to the
After
close
items
this,
are-
section. Yeah.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Hall,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Ms. McCormick?